I'll begin this evening by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land and where we're gathered tonight, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. My name's Lee McKenzie. I'm principal at Horsham Western Haven Primary School, and we welcome you to the prep information evening this evening regarding 2023. Some of you might not have seen me on the school tours. I wasn't part of the school tours. I was actually laid up with COVID, so a lot of you might be seeing me for the first time. You would have had Mrs. Gibbs. So I'd like to welcome you tonight. We're really excited about the direction that we're heading in with our school. We've made some really big changes over the last 18 months, and we're really starting to see some impacts on student learning in the early years, and it's starting to filter through up into the upper years. So we're really excited about where we're heading. I'd just like to thank the prep team over here who have done a lot of work in organising tonight and making sure that we've got all the information that you'll need and that you're familiar with who you can catch up with regarding anything that you would like to know between now and the start of the year. You'll have some familiar faces that you will see on transition. We're just in the process of finalising our last prep teacher for 2023. That'll be announced in the next couple of weeks. So we do have a teacher, we won't be letting it out just yet. And potentially you might get to meet them on transition as well. Tonight you'll hear from Anne, our business manager. She'll go through some payments and a few other things like that regarding how they'll work for your child. Emily, who's our acting assistant principal and literacy leader, and you'll hear from our prep team. Also Joe Galatly, who is our Parents Club president, and you'll also hear from Billy, who works with our students who potentially may have some learning difficulties or some challenges. So we thank you for your attendance, and I'll hand on over to Joe first up.
So as Lee said, I'm Jo Galatly. I'm the Parents Club president at the moment, and I just wanted to come along and traditionally welcome you to the school community and also explain a little bit about Parents Club. You'll get lots of information tonight, and we don't expect it at all stinks in completely. That's why we've got a bit of a flyer that comes in your little pack that you've got there. Basically, Parents Club is your fundraising source. Most of you have gone through kinder. You know how the drill works. It's a little bit different to kinder though. We try and do regular activities as we go through the 12 months of the year to put towards landscaping projects primarily at the school. So this year's contribution has been the court area in front of the classrooms just along here on the Curwood Street building. So we've put a huge amount of money into that in the last couple of years, and then there's been we're basically the AstroTurf girls at the moment. So we've sponsored or paid for a lot of the AstroTurf courts around the school. One, because it provides a really great environment for the kids to play on, gives them a safe space, but also beautifies the school a little bit as well. So we run basically a concept of some regular fundraisers each year. We try and do a raffle at Easter time, which is some Cadbury chocolates, obviously. A Christmas raffle, which we do for local business companies in Horsham, we get some vouchers for. And we try and run a food event once a term, just basically something different for lunch that day that raises a little bit to the school. And there's a few other things that we try and do as we go through. We are a small little bunch of people though, and many hands make light work, like all committees and organisations. We don't expect you to join straight away, but we would love for people to actually start to consider that as they go through the school journey, to actually put your hand up. Sometimes we're just putting out a call out for helpers. It's a perfect way to get involved, to meet parents and things. I've got kids a bit further on in the school journey. You learn what's going on, you learn how some of the things happen and things like that work around the school. So a great way of actually meeting parents as they go through the journey as well. We meet monthly. We've been doing a combination during the COVID period of doing some Zoom meetings, so you don't even have to leave your own home. That way you can just do it sitting on the couch with your phone running on the meeting. Means you can still contribute, but family dynamics are changing. Not everybody can get out of the house at a certain time, so that the Zoom meeting has worked for that concept. and sometimes we try to meet face to face. It just sort of depends on why go out in the middle of winter when we can do it from home in a nice warm house. So we've tried to provide that as an option. So basically, we'd love you to follow our Facebook page. That's how we promote most of our activities. We put all of our stuff up on our Facebook page. We put a page in the newsletter when we're running an event and that kind of thing. So the most important part is to make sure you follow those page and keep in track with things. Please support the fundraising activities we run in the next 12 months or so. And I don't want to put the pressure on you now, but consider in the next few years about putting your hand up to actually join the Parents Club and contribute to new ideas and fundraising activities, but also to see how the school works. Lee comes along to our meetings, we contribute at school council, and so all of our ideas come from the parents and the teachers and those kind of things as to where we put our funds. So this is our special page in your pack you've all picked up. Have a look, like the page now so you find out what's happening at the moment, so you get a bit of an idea what's happening. We do all of our purchasing via the app that Anne will tell you all about later, which I won't bombard you with too much yet. But yeah, so we do prefer to use the app that the school offers, because that way we don't have to provide people to count the cash. You don't have to find the cash to send in for the different things. Trust me, it gets annoying. And this way you can actually just buy the things as you go along. All right, thank you very much. Enjoy the evening.
In your packs is 3 pieces of paper. I'll just go through the first one, which is making payments to the school and the options that are available. We have the Quicker app, which Joe was just talking about, and that's available on the Google Play Store or Apple Store. Is that what it's called? I'm not a Apple user. So it's just basically, it's like a shopping cart, and everything that the school's running will be placed on there. So if there's excursions for prep, they'll be on there. If there's excursions for grade 6 and camps and things, they'll all be on there. And you just select which ones you want to pay for, put them in your cart and check out, just like you would with any online store. So it saves, as Joe was saying, constantly having to find, $2.50 for this and 50 cents. And if you're anything like me, my purse is empty these days. It's just full of plastic cards, so I don't carry cash. And it's very convenient, and it comes in. We're not holding a lot of cash at the school, so the security risk and everything involved with having cash on the grounds is reduced, and I can't say it's wonderful. Encourage everybody to download it and use it if you can. You do need a debit card or a credit card just attached to the app so that it can use that. I think you can even buy those from the post office and load those ones up. So the other options we have, of course, is cash. All the notes will go home with the option. If you're paying cash, you do need to return the form. That was one thing I forgot to say about the Quicker app. The form, all the details that we require from you are on the Quicker app, so you don't have to submit the form back through class or with the student, or medical details, anything like that we need for whatever event will be on the form on Quicker. So cash, of course, yep, we have little envelopes available at the school, and if you ever run out of those, you can come and get some more at any time, or ask that your kids take some home, and that's just a very secure way if you do need to send some cash in to the school. On the back of the document there's a little diagram there just asking for your parent, for your student names and what the money's for. So cheques, we still do accept cheques. I don't even know, we get about one a year now. So FPOS, we have an FPOS facility available at the school to use, and you can also with things over $10 on the bottom of your excursion notes and things like that, you'll find the ability to put credit card details down the bottom, and we can process that at the school if you'd prefer to do it that way. Account credit. Throughout, we don't tend to do refunds because there's always another event. So you might pay $5 for one thing and then have to cancel $20 here, and it'll sit on your account. We won't touch it. We'll reverse the charge, and the money will stay on your student's account. You will be able to give us a call, or on the notices it might say use your credit. You can just tick that box, and we will never use it without your say so. It will stay there. If you never use it, it will follow you when you leave the school. So
On the app, if there's funds there,
if there's funds
if there's
there,
funds and you go on quicker,
you
is there an
can't,
option?
no, because
No.
it's a zero payment then, and
Okay.
it's a payment app. So, but you can just fill out the form and tick the bottom, use my credit, and we will put it against whatever you choose, if you choose. The other one that we are just bringing into play this year is BPay options. So if you are somebody that would like to just set a $10 amount a week or per child, whatever, you can call the office and get your individualised BPay, and just that will go directly into your account when we run our processes our end, and it'll just stay there. And just as I was saying before, if you want to use it at any stage, you can give us a call, tick on the note, and use that forever. So again, we would never touch that money unless you say so. So it'll follow you. If you have a bank of $600 in grade 6 and your child leaves and goes to high school, it will go with them to high school. So it's just what we're finding at the moment is with the increased costs of camps, petrol, buses, they are getting more expensive. We try to keep the costs as low as we possibly can. We send out, information requests on how many are coming, and really try to get the costs down to a bare minimum. But it's just the way it is at the moment. Like, inflation's just enormous, and we understand that everybody out there is also feeling that in day-to-day life. So we're just trying to make things as easy as you can, and that if you want to do that at any time, please free to give me a call, and we'll just set up whatever you want. So that's the new system this year. The other thing that you can do, and if you're in receipt of if you've got a pension card or a healthcare card, you can apply for CSEF, which is the Camp Sports and Excursion Fund. And I think it's about $125 a year that you get from the government, and that also stays against the individual student. There is certain eligibility you have to meet, but that form and all the details are on the back of what. I've lost my words. Who's eligible, basically. So it will continue if you get $125 in prep and you don't use it in prep, that will stay against that student in grade 2, and again right through school it will follow them to high school. So well worth doing if you're eligible. It can assist greatly. Over the last couple of years with COVID and we haven't been able to do things, people were still receiving that money, and it's helped greatly this year with the expenses with Year 6 camps and things like that. So last but not least, the parent payments document goes through everything that we do with and what we request from you. All payments to the school are voluntary. What Horsham West does that a lot of schools don't do is provides all of your students with all of their curriculum consumables. So you're not going to, at this stage, having to go down to the shop and buy pens and pencils and books and exercise, all that sort of stuff. So we provide all of that. The main reason for that is that everybody then has the same. The teacher's not dealing with different sizes of shapes and stuff like that. And it's all, the kid next door hasn't got the Derwents, while Derwent pencils, such and such is using the Faber-Castells. So everyone's got the same stuff. Nobody's looking over their shoulder at what Joey's got. It's all even across the board. So just keep that in mind. It is voluntary. We've given some suggestions on the second page and spelled out here exactly what it's covering. The suggested amounts. So if you don't think that that's worth $135, feel free. You can just elect to pay $50. They're not actually up on quicker yet, but they will be very, very soon. So, and it doesn't matter when you pay those, but it does help us out enormously. So we're feeling the pinch a bit this year, but with the curriculum consumables since the policy has changed with the department. So, right through there, that goes through pretty much everything that we provide, and a lot of the details of what will be coming up with the optional expenses. And again, my name's in there, and Val McDonald is the other finance officer. You can also speak to her about anything financial. Please give us a call and welcome aboard.
Hi, I'm Billy. My role is Education Support Liaison, and this is Kelly Mays. Kelly's coming on our Wellbeing team as leading teacher, student wellbeing and engagement in 2023. Did I get that right, Kelly?
Yes.
And there's two other members of the Wellbeing team, Craig Amos, who is the Assistant Principal Campus Manager at Haven, who'll be the Assistant Principal Student Wellbeing, and we have Stacey Hallam, who is our Welfare Officer. So there's a team of 4, and our role is to support all the students in the school. My role in particular is around supporting students that may have additional needs, so diagnosed autism or ADHD or global developmental delay, kids that come in kinders that may have an NDIS plan, and we support their transition into school and make sure it's all positive and smooth sailing. If you have any concerns about your student and their transition to school, or if they do have a diagnosis, reach out for a chat. If you have concerns throughout the year about your students' learning, so their academic learning, maths, reading, writing, first point of call is classroom teacher. If you have concerns about how they're settling in, by all means have a chat to the teacher, but reach out to the Wellbeing team as well, so we can support the transition of the kids into school from kinder that may need some additional supports in the classroom, that may have had some other services involved. We liaise with other services and support the students the best we can. I'm a mum. I've had 3 kids come through prep, and it can be quite daunting if you're a first-time parent. So if you have any concerns about any of those sorts of things, or their social skills or their emotional wellbeing, just reach out and have a chat. Call through the office and ask for us, and we'll do the best we can to support you. Kel?
Thank you. All right, so I just wanted to have a quick talk about this super important blue form, which you all have received in your enrolment packs, and we are starting to receive some of them back, which is really valuable and helpful information for us and for helping the kids settle in and for placing the kids in classes next year. So this is an additional enrolment information form. It's got parts where you can tick if your child's had any assessments done, if you have any concerns, any information about whether your child takes medications, and anything you just think that would be valuable for us to know. So yeah, if you have not yet one of these out, we really recommend that you do. There's one in your pack. And yeah, if you already have filled it out and handed it back in, but you think of something else that you think is really important for us to know, or even just worth noting, yeah, please fill it out and hand in a second one if you need to. Okay? Yeah. And that's all I've got. Thank you. Now I'm going to take off my wellbeing hat, pop on my teacher hat, and I'm going to talk to you about the start of prep next year. So the first 4 Wednesdays in the year, so that's the Wednesdays in February, they are their assessment days for us. So your child doesn't come to school for the first 4 Wednesdays. And we use that time to schedule in English and numeracy interviews, we call it. So you don't have to study for that test, you don't have to do anything for it. We just ask that on orientation day in December when you come in, we'll have rough classes. So they're not set classes yet, they're about 80% set. We're going to ask that you book a time in that class anyway with that teacher, one for English and one for maths. And then once the prep team have got together, discussed how orientation went and confirm who our classes are and who the teacher will be, at some point before the end of the year, your student's teacher will contact you to confirm your time, and then you'll be able to come in for the interviews. So your child will only come in on the Wednesday in their interview time, and then they can go home again. So another thing that I just wanted to talk about was Zuno. So the prep team always want to have conversations with you about your child. You don't have to wait until parent-teacher interviews or anything like that. So one of the ways that we communicate effectively, we think, is through Zuno. So it's a messaging type system. It's really easy to use, and you'll use it all the way through to grade 6. So it's really important to get that ASAP when you can. So you should be able to have an email invite. I think it happens on the first day that your child attends. So set that up as soon as you can. We send home reminders and weekly overviews of what your child's learning in class so that you can talk about that with your child at home at the start of the day, help them prepare for the day. Yeah, sometimes it is a bit busy in the mornings and that pick-up time and drop-off time. So yeah, if there's something that's not super urgent, then if you could flick us to Zuno so that we become aware of it, that would be really good. And if you need to make a time, yeah, we can organise a time before school or after school on any week, so you don't have to wait for parent-teacher interviews.
Hi everyone, my name's Renee and I've been teaching prep for 3 years now, and next year will be my 4th year teaching prep and I will be in the prep team next year teaching. So I'm here to talk about all the fun stuff like independence. So I'll start with the uncomfortable one of toilets. So getting your child ready for school. We actually have urinals in our male toilets, so if you've got a boy then make sure you go to a public toilet or somewhere like that where there is some urinals and you can practice. And we do have cubicles as well, so girls and boys have cubicles. So also practice the locks on those, because obviously when you turn them they can get stuck sometimes, or if they don't know how to turn them and open them then it can be quite traumatic if they get stuck in there. So, and there's no one else around, so just practice going into the toilets, closing the door, locking and unlocking them. And there's lots that you can do to practice independence, things like practicing the jumpers, so zipping them up, unzipping them if they've got buttons, buttoning them up, unbuttoning the jumpers, putting the sleeves in the right way and putting them on. Obviously when we've got a class of 20 or more kids, then if they all need help with that sort of thing, then it does take a lot of time. So all this practicing for independence is really helpful for us and as well for your child. We also ask that with shoes as well, if you can try and get some shoes with Velcro rather than laces for their first year of school, that's very helpful, because again, if you're tying up 20 kids' shoelaces in one day, you can imagine that it would take a whole lot of time for us. Lunch boxes, another thing to practice is like if you can purchase your child's lunchbox of what they'll have next year and practice how to open it, how to close it. It's helpful for us if they know how to open it, but it's also helpful for you if they know how to close it properly, because obviously having empty yogurts and things like that, it can spill throughout the bag, so it's good to practice. And also practice and talk about what their lunch actually is. So we eat lunch first at school now. We have a morning session from 9 until 11:30 and they eat we encourage lunch at 11:30. So talk about what is their lunch. The sandwich is their lunch, or whatever you pack for them, and then what is the snack, what they will eat at 2 o'clock. At lunchtime we supervise for 10 minutes, so we can help with that in the first term, but talk about what they can eat and to save some for that 2 o'clock break, because some eat it all at the start and then they get to the 2 o'clock break, they've eaten it all and then they are hungry for the day. So discuss those sorts of things. And fruit containers as well, we encourage a fruit snack at about 10 o'clock in the morning. And it's really helpful for us if you pack that fruit snack in a separate container than their lunchbox. I like to get my class to get theirs out and put them on their name tag on their tables so they're ready to go, and have it cut up so that it's ready to eat. Some children bring oranges and they have to peel them, and then by the time they've peeled them, then everyone's packed up and ready to move on to the lesson. So if you could have that in a separate container and cut up, that would be really helpful for us. And keep practicing packing their school bags and unpacking their bags as well. And it actually is really exciting for the kids getting ready for school. They get excited practicing and getting all their things ready, so you can actually make it a really enjoyable experience getting ready for school. And we encourage that Blue Pocket, which we'll hear about a little bit later, goes in the back. There's actually a pouch in the school bags that the Blue Pocket can fit inside. We encourage that to go in first. And if the bag's full with things, then they can get quite frustrated that their Blue Pocket doesn't fit. So practice putting that in the little slip first, and then putting lunch boxes and things, jumpers and all that on top of that. But yeah, I'm always here for questions if you have anything, and welcome to West, and I can't wait to meet your kids. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Megan. Next year will be my 2nd year teaching prep, and I'm really excited to meet everyone. I'm going to talk about a few things. The first thing I'm going to talk about is dropping your child off in the morning. Parents are welcome to come into the classroom, but please only stay for 5 to 10 minutes. Ensure you say goodbye to your children before you leave. We don't want them to be playing with their toys and turn around and be like, oh my gosh, mum and dad aren't there. So make sure you say goodbye. That would save us a lot of hassle. If your child's upset at drop-off, don't worry. They generally start to settle in, but if they don't, we will give you a call and let you know. Moving on, bus travel. If your child is going to be travelling on the bus, it's always, please, let your teachers know so we can make sure that they get on the bus on time. It's been very helpful in the past when parents have made little bus tags that I'm sure Kimberly will go over with you. On the bus tags, it's got your child's name, the bus number and the days that they're on the bus, or you can send the tag onto the bag on the days that they're on the bus. Next is attendance and early dismissal. So children will be dismissed at 3:15 for the first few weeks to avoid the chaos of after school, because if you've been a parent here before, you know that it gets a bit busy. Please ensure you talk to your child about who is picking them up and that they know who's going to pick them up. It can be a bit scary sometimes. We would appreciate it if they could be picked up from their classroom for the first few weeks or with a sibling. We will not let your child go or leave the classroom until we know who they're going with. Wednesdays will be no prep attendance until the 27th of March when we'll start full time, and that's going to be a very busy, very exciting time. You'll know they'll get very tired, but it'll be great. Lunch orders. Now they're available on Fridays and they are delivered to the classroom in term 2. So we don't do them in term 1, we start them in term 2 for preps. We don't encourage preps to bring money to school. It can get lost and can cause a whole heap of hassles. So if they want an icy pole or a little treat, it can be added to their lunch order and it'll get delivered to the classroom. It'll be fine. And last but not least, specialists. So your children are going to be so lucky, they're going to be so happy, it's what they look forward to the most. They'll participate in a large range of specialist programs. They've got art, PE, German, performing arts, STEAM, and hopefully next year, fingers crossed, they'll have ICT or technology as well. And a timetable of your child's daily school activities will be sent home on Zuno for you to look at, so you'll see what they're doing after the first few weeks of school.
Hi everyone, I'm Kimberly. I will be joining the prep team at West next year. I've been a prep teacher for 5 years, so it might not be here, but I've got a fair bit of experience out there. And I'm going to talk to you about what we need or would like your child to have at our school. So first of all, a school bag. We highly recommend the Horsham West school bag because it is big enough for everything that they need and it's durable. These bags will last you the entire time that your child is at this school. So these are good quality and they're big enough. I can't stress that enough. If you don't choose to go with a bag like this, make sure it is big enough to hold everything in it, because packing bags can be quite stressful for your children. Next thing is our library bags. So again, we have these Horsham West and Haven library bags, and they're waterproof inside, so if your drink bottle spills, you're not going to ruin any library books or anything, so also a good purchase. The next one is an art smock. So any art smock is fine for your child. Just make sure it's named, like this one on the front, or inside it needs to be clearly named on a tag or something, so your child can easily pick it out of the box. We have a hat here. So the school hats are purchased from Lowe's, I believe. They have our school logo. They are fantastic because they have the elastic on them, so you can really tighten them to the head. They don't get blown off and lost. And then again, the name's on the inside. Your children won't need pencil cases in prep because we share all our resources. It's a great way for your kids to learn to share, which we know they don't want to sometimes. So sharing pencils is the easiest way that we can teach them how to do that. So pencil cases you won't need. You will need some headphones with a round pluggy bit. Yep, pluggy bit.
Not the wireless ones.
Yeah, not the wireless ones. We need these to fit into our iPads and they have the round hole. We also have our blue pockets. Now, if you're a previous parent here a few years ago, these were given to your child by the school. They're not anymore, unfortunately, so you will need to purchase these from Lowe's. Inside the blue pocket will be a whole range of different things, our notes, yellow books, readers, and some other little things. So it's essential that you get one of these for your child. Also they're waterproof. I can't stress that enough, drink bottles get spilled. And on this bag, if your child is going to be a bus traveller, we highly recommend a bus tag. So it's just like a bag tag you get for your luggage, and on it it has what bus they're on, the numbers, your mobile number in case they miss it for some odd reason. If they're on the country bus and they go to the bus exchange at the college and they happen to miss that for some reason, your number's on there, so it's quick and easy for you to get in contact with. But it also helps us a lot to make sure that your children do get on the right bus. If they're not a country bus traveller and they're a local bus traveller, it's still really important so we can make sure they're on the right bus and they're not going to the opposite side of town from where you live. Yes, inside our blue pocket, your children will get a yellow diary. So they'll receive one of these at the start of the year. We do provide these. And inside, every night, you will sign whenever they read. So, and we keep count. This helps us to know if they're practicing, things happen. They don't always read, and that's totally fine. However, it'll improve our fluency, it'll improve and reinforce what we're learning at school also. Once we reach a certain number of nights, 50, 100, 200, 300, they get a little token that can go on their bags as well, just to encourage the nights of reading. And lastly, in prep we learn we follow the Sounds Right program, and through that we learn the sounds in a specific order. In prep we send home a Ziploc bag at the start of the year, and each time we are learning the new code, your child will get sent home with a new bunch of letters to practice building words and making words, reading words, all the words and sounds. So they'll get a heap of these as well.
And to keep at home.
To keep at home. So you can practice with your child can practice with you. Your child will be able to show you what they do in the classroom, and they will be so proud of what they can do. It is amazing what we have and your children will be achieving by this time next year. So, here are the things.
Can I add to what you're saying? Yeah. Like Kimberly said, we definitely recommend that you all buy this bag, but that also means that we have 90 of this bag in prep. So please, if you can find something that your child likes, maybe a unicorn or a love heart or a truck or something to hang off it so they can easily identify their bag. This person's uses one of those cry-cut fancy things to put the name on the front. That's another option. Another option is just thick as texters, so that's really visible. And this person here has used like an iron-on fabric patch so that the child can easily identify their hat. So anything you can make it easier for your child to find their stuff, the better it will be.
I have the really exciting, riveting job of talking about literacy instruction at West, but we are really excited because, as Lee has mentioned, over the last 2 years, a lot has changed at our school in terms of reading, writing, spelling instruction, and we're really excited about it. So you can see this webinar in full, an hour, on our YouTube page or on the Facebook, on our website, sorry. But tonight I just want to explain briefly, 10 minutes, about our approach, what is coming home in terms of reading material, why that's the case, and just how you can support your child to cement the really amazing skills and the learning that's happening in the classroom, because it is a partnership between home and school, and we appreciate all the hard work that you put in. So, over the last 2 years we have transitioned to, it's a bit of a mouthful, explicit systematic synthetic phonics, and the program that we use is called Sounds Right. We are the first large school in the Wimmera to use this program, and All it means by explicit is that we teach the kids exactly what to do. Nothing's left to chance. We build slowly from very simple code to more complex code, and we teach them to synthesize. It's not fake. Synthesize just means to blend sounds together, segment, and manipulate sounds. And obviously the phonics part is the letter sound connection. So that's what the phonics is. And it's our first year using sounds right across the whole school. We've had some really great results with our data, which we'll show you at the end because we're really proud of it. So yeah, we're excited. All our F2 teachers are trained in Sounds Right. It's quite a long process to get trained, it's about a month. And any new staff in Prep to 2 will be trained as well. So that's taken 12 months to get everybody all trained up. Now I just want to randomly talk about language. Not all languages are created equally. So we take a language like Italian, it has a very, very simple spelling system. 21 letters, 32 sounds, and about 32 ways to spell those sounds. Pretty simple. English has a very, very deep, complex spelling system. We have 26 letters, 44 sounds, and over 1,500 ways to spell those sounds. That is not a lie, that is fact, and it can be very overwhelming. So this is why we have changed our program to teach phonics so explicitly, so systematically, because we want all students to learn to read. Another really important change we've made this year is we don't send home lists of words to memorise. Memorising is not an efficient strategy. We teach the kids to read those words. And this quote here, I think, really sums it up. If you teach a child to memorise 10 words, well, they can read 10 words. If you teach them sounds of 10 letters, they can read 353 sound words, over 4,000 four-sound words, and over 21,000 five-sound words. So that is why we have changed our approach. Exactly. So how do we tackle this really, really complex deep code? This is just a snapshot for you, and this might be a bit overwhelming, but we want you to understand what we're doing so that you can help support your students. In Foundation, as Kimberly mentioned, we start with a group of sounds, s, a, t, I, m. And we teach students 3 sound words like cat, mat, sat. Later on down the track, we teach our students that 2 letters can actually represent 1 sound. This is called a digraph, and they get very excited when they spot them, and they'll be telling you all about them. So think of me when you hear your child go, oh, there's a digraph. So things like sh, ch, 2 letters but 1 sound only. It's really important. This doesn't say t, it says th. So we teach them digraphs. Then later on in prep, we teach them about adjacent consonants, so consonants side by side. Words like grip, flip, west. You might remember them at school, they were called blends. So we teach them those. Then in grade 1, we hit what we call extended code. This is the more complex code. So as we saw with the 1,500 spellings, we teach students that a sound like A can actually be spelt in many ways. We teach them the 4 most common spellings, AI, AY, A something E, EA. Then in grade 2, we build on that, so we're building every year, and we teach them less frequent spellings like A, EI, EY, EIGH. So you can see that it's a real team effort, year by year, week by week, month by month, to build on those skills. So with that really complex code, it would make sense that we would provide your child with material to read that matches the code they're learning. And these books that you'll be getting sent home are called decodables. So decodables mainly include the letters and sounds that the child has learnt, which makes sense. Why would we want them to read something they've not yet learnt? Now, these decodables do get harder, and they include more text as you go up the scale. So we don't use repetitive, predictable text at West anymore. So I just want to show you a short clip from Alison Clark, she's a speech pathologist, to show you what it looks like for a child to try and read a book when they don't have the code knowledge. It's a real eye-opener. So it's a 4-minute clip, don't fall asleep. I don't have any popcorn for you, unfortunately, so hopefully you'll be entertained.
I want to talk about repetitive texts or predictable texts, which are often used with literacy beginners and strugglers. So I brought along a literacy beginner here, and she's just started school. She learned a little bit about letters in kinder, and her teacher has been focusing on these, which are the most common letters in English. So she's learnt so far 1 sound for each of these letters. She's learnt et, a, o, I, n, s, d. And she hasn't learned other sounds that these letters can represent. So she hasn't learnt the A in cafe, or the E in bee, or the O in want, or the R in front, or the I in high, or the E in ski. The books that she's taking home to read at home for each night, and that her parents are faithfully reading with her. These are example books that I've made up because I didn't want to use someone's published book on my website if they might get cross with me for saying things they didn't agree with about them. And so we're going to have a look at this type of book, and if you have a child that has used these kind of books before, you'll recognise the formula. We'll have a look at it from the literate adult's point of view, and then we're going to have a look at it from her point of view. Book at the park, so it's about an interesting topic for children. It's got nice pictures, something familiar. I see a slide, I see a swing, so the sentences are not long, not a lot of words, nice big print. I see a seesaw, I see a climbing frame, I see a tree, I see a dog, I see a magpie, I see a frisbee, I see a football, I see people at the park. So that should be pretty easy for beginners, yeah, you think? 33 phoneme grapheme correspondences. Now, our little girl only knows 10, but she's being encouraged to look at the picture, look at first letters, think of what might make sense, and have a go at reading this book, regardless that it's got so many spellings in it she doesn't know. Also, it has quite a bit of syllable complexity. So here's the first book with just the letters that this student knows and the sounds that this student knows. So et, a, o, I, n, s, they're all in black and normal print. The ones she doesn't know are in wingdings. And then the ones that she thinks she knows, but they're not operating like that in this word, are in red. Now, she may have learnt that as a high frequency word, so she may know that's the, or the, I would want her to say. But she might be going t, eh. This one, she doesn't know as a spelling, she just knows so if she tries to sound that out, she'll say or something, so she'll be not very close to getting the word right in the dialect that she and I speak. So let's work through the book and see what it looks like when you do that to the letters. So on this page, she knows s, s and d. And, she may be able to have a crack at the high frequency words if she's learnt those, I and A. She'll say for that, unless someone tells her to say E, which she may learn from this book, who knows, but it hasn't been taught in her alphabet lessons. This looks like an N, but it's actually part of the N. So, I can't really get the word from that. So really she's going to have to rely pretty heavily on looking at the pictures and guessing, and particularly with words like this, where there's only one letter there that she knows in that whole thing. And, look at the first letter and guess and get your mouth ready. That is not going to work for that word or this one, because she just doesn't know those letters yet. This one looks very transparent to us, but if she's doing the letters she knows, it's not. It's only s and t and that she knows. Same for us here, dog. She only gets the last one. Well, she can perhaps guess. She might be able to guess that from the print if she could guess the rest. I see a bird would be what I would guess she'd say for that. I see a frisbee. I see a don't really know. The only letter I know in this one is T. But hey, I know that's a footy. I just guess. So that's that one.
The point we're trying to make there is that we don't want students to guess, because that is not an effective strategy. We don't want them to use a picture, because a picture lasts for 6 months and then there are no more pictures, and that's not an efficient way to read. So we're not sending those books home. That's my point. So don't worry. We're sending home books that will match what your student can manage, because reading can cause a lot of anxiety. We don't want them to feel unsure. We don't want them to feel stressed. We want them to feel confident and really excited about their progress. Because really, without a picture, it would be quite hard to read those words. The playground picture, I'd forgotten what the word was, and when I watch this video, I'm like, oh, I actually don't know what that says, because I don't know, because I have to guess. Okay, just the last thing I want to mention is repeated reading. We need our students to decode so automatically and so fluently that it almost seems like they're reading it from memory, but they are still decoding, but it's at lightning speed. So in order for them to do that, they've got to practice reading the same word over and over again. So we're going to annoy you with a text that lasts a week or even 2 weeks, is that right? But we want you to read it 20, 30, 40 times. Make it more fun and exciting. Give them some rewards or stickers. But there is a rhyme to the reason. Reason to the rhyme? I don't know. There's a reason to the madness. We want you to read as often and as repetitively as you can to build that automaticity. Because when they can read automatically, they're not wasting their brain power on decoding and they can think about what they're reading. So we apologise in advance for the repetitive books. In your packs you will have a list of what will come home in terms of reading material. You can read this later. There's also a list, a poster for you to help you decode with your child, some more support sheets about comprehension, vocab, etc. And this was our data that we wanted to share with you really briefly. So this assessment we use now is called DIBBLES. It gives us an overall score, but we actually have a few little assessments that work together like a puzzle pieces to give you an overall score. Red is intensive support. It's support outside the classroom. It's often, I suppose, through intervention and other services. Yellow is strategic support, so a little bit of extra work and support. Green means just, green and blue is classroom. So basically at the start of prep we expect all our students to have limited skills and knowledge in the area of reading mechanics. But by the time they get to the end of the year, this is our prep team's hard work and all the parents' work, you can see just how much blue and green we have and just how little red and yellow or requiring support we have as a result of our whole prep cohort. This is the grade 1 team. They've done a fantastic job this year. Again, over the course of the year, you can see these students learning, increasing their ability, and we've got the majority in the green and blue. So very, very exciting. Last thing I had was just a video to help show you how to read with your child at home. So I don't know if that's something you want to watch, but it's 2 minutes and then I'll hop off the soapbox and we can have some question time.
Encourage tracking using the finger. It's really important that students keep track and blend as they read. The finger will help do this.
All right, use your pointer.
Can not go and...
If your child gets stuck on a word or comes to a word that they're unsure of, encourage them to sound it out. For example, we have the word here, dish. The word dish has 3 sounds, d, I, sh. We encourage them to say the sounds, then blend those sounds together. Dish. It's extremely important that we do not use letter names during this reading time because we need to decode the sounds that those letters are representing. You might like to download this free poster from our website. This reminds both parents and their children that there is a step to decoding. We don't want to encourage the child to look away from the words. So using picture clues or giving lots of hints about the context of the story really isn't the way to get your child to decode. We need to make sure the focus is on the words. It's important that if an error is made or some sounding out has to happen at word level, that a child goes back and rereads the sentence. This will assist with fluency and understanding.
Gus and Nip had a fin.
Just go back to this word, sweetheart, and can you sound that out for Mummy?
Fun.
All right, you want to say the sentence again for me, sweetie?
Gus and Nip had a fun plan.
At the end of decoding the story, it's time to check for understanding.
How did Dan and Nat get to the beach?
They went in a jeep.
They did go in a jeep. Well done.
This will prompt a rich discussion about the book. Ensure that your child understands what they've read and maybe take it a little bit deeper and further by having a conversation, maybe about the characters, what they did, or the events that happened in the story. And, of course, at the end of every read, celebrate the efforts of your child.
I think we're having question time now, is that right, Renee? Yep. Who wants to be brave? If you're in the classroom, we just pull out a stick with your name on it and make you ask a question, but we won't do that. Anyone have any questions at all?
You might not have any tonight.
Got one.
And I was wondering how many prep classes there are this year.
There'll be 4.
in each class?
Around about 20. We're expecting somewhere between 78 and 82, around about there. So it'd be 19, 20. Yep. Any other questions? Must have. Well done. Right, yeah, just on behalf of everyone that's here tonight, we really appreciate you taking the time to come to our information evening. By all means, if you walk away and you have got questions, the website's really good if you want to have a look at that, or ring the front office and they'll either be able to answer your query or they'll be able to contact the person that you need to talk to. And they'll get back to you within a couple of days, depending on how busy they are and whatnot. We really do try to keep those lines of communication open. One of the things, we are quite large. There is around about 540 kids on this site. We do have the segregated playgrounds for prep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sometimes something might happen with your child and we might not be aware of it. So if you don't notify us, we still won't be aware of it. And that happens from time to time. Something will happen in the playground potentially, and those students don't come in and tell the teacher, or they don't let the yard duty teacher know. And it could be quite significant, but they might be intimidated to share or worried. It's really important that you contact the classroom teacher and just let them know what's happened. And that way we can follow up and get to the bottom of what's happened, whether it's a misunderstanding or whether it's whatever it might be. So it's really, really important that you do. Just make sure that you keep those lines of communication open.
And we look forward to meeting your children next Tuesday, the 22nd, and the following Tuesday after hours, the 29th.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.